GOAT district, you know the Pope listens. Dynasty, our religion, for the blokes missing. On all of these trades, on all of these plays, on all of these grades. By the end of the day, y'all getting played. So, what you gonna do next? Try to fill up that flex? Send the homie a text? That trash offer's the best? You try to make it complex, then they text you back, now all of a sudden they don't make any sense? Broaden your horizons, boy. Dynasty's not for the Simons, boy. These trades not for consignment, boy. Respect your opponent, y'all some piranhas, boy. This my advice, from me to you. Open up your cute little podcast queue. Search up GOAT District, my dude. Pop it in your ear, man, y'all know what to do. It's the... And I always be traded. And I always be traded. And I always be trading. Y'all try to betray them, but first you gotta bait them. Fish.
What is up, Fantasyland? We're back for another Thursday tailgate with my boy, the hairy snowman, Rob. What is up, buddy? We got another Thursday nighter tonight. Carolina, Chicago. You got your Bears hat on. You're a big Bears fan, and I know you got some nice little tidbits for tonight's game. And as usual, once you and I start mashing our brains together, we get some pretty good prop ideas, some pretty good start-sit ideas, and some good ideas on how the flow of the game could go. Appreciate the chat. You guys have been rocking for like a few minutes now. Rob and I were checking out the chat while we were kind of behind before we got going live, but we appreciate you guys tuning in. As you know, Thursday at noon, we go through basically a deep dive into the Thursday night game. We're looking at start sits. We're looking at matchups, player props. We're going to update you guys on injuries, all the goodness you need. And we get pretty deep into the weeds. And we appreciate you guys in the live chat because we like to chop it up with you guys, get some feedback. And all together, man, we put our brains together. We come up with some pretty nice ideas. Rob, how you doing today? And how excited are you to see your Bears for, I think, their second Thursday night of the year, isn't it?
Yeah. Actually, really excited, surprisingly excited. I keep everywhere I look or I hear, oh, not looking forward to this game. Oh, terrible. This is a great game, man. This is going to be a lot of fun. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to it. And hopefully a Bears win. And, yeah.
So it looks like we missed the Hairy Snowman's birthday. So happy belated birthday. We've got Anthony M in the chat, and then our buddy Mike Chope, who was on last week. He was the first one to mention it. He wants to make sure that I know it's the Hairy Snowman's birthday. So we want to wish him a happy birthday. And perfect birthday, nice little birthday. I know it's not your birthday today, but not a bad birthday week game, right? With your Bears playing on Thursday night.
Oh yeah. This is one I've been looking forward to for a while. The DJ Moore revenge game.
Yeah. Nice. Let's start there, man. Get right into it.
You want me to get into this? All right.
Actually, you know what? Let you know how we do it, man. Rob, we got to set the table. You always got to set the table. You can't just dive in and start eating at the counter standing. It's not healthy, right?
No.
You can't be digesting food standing.
It's a lot of food.
You got to be civil. Sit at the table. Use the fork and knife. So let's set the table. We got Carolina at Chicago, 3.5. And you can see. I try to get a little update on the screen for you guys, but we'll put at the bottom. It's actually moved to 3.5 now. The Bears are favored. And the line for the over-under is at 38. You've got, two teams that are struggling in their division, fourth in the division. You've got Carolina with 1 win, Chicago with 2, both with 7 losses. Chicago is averaging 20.9 points per game and 26.9 points against. And then you've got Carolina with 17.5, 4, and 28.2 against. So you talked about the DJ Moore revenge game. Rob, what else do you have for us to get into this tonight?
All right. So you're saying setting the table, right? Two teams coming off of 2 losses. Really the big difference is Carolina's coming in off of two home games. Bears coming back for home cooking after being on the road for a couple of games. Carolina, probably the worst game we've seen out of Young so far. 3 interceptions, couple pick sixes, really cost his team that win. Just an ugly game. Chicago, also lost due to some turnovers, but they came out hot. Agent, little inconsistent, but made some throws, made some good throws, made some horrible throws, but made some throws. If we start looking at the techs in this game, let's start out with the Panthers. Panthers are 1-7 straight up last 8 games, 1-6-1 against the spread. 2-14 straight up the last 16 road games, 1-6 straight up the last 6 times they've come to Chicago. The Bears on the stats side, 2-7 straight up, but 3-5-1 against the spread. So they've been covering roughly a third of the time. They're 6-4 straight up against the Panthers, but they're about even against the spread, 4-5-1. When I look at the comparison of what they're giving up and what they're, as far as the defense gives up and what the offense is producing, the real matchup, I guess, would be the Bears' running game against the Panthers' rush defense. Rush defense is giving up over 130 yards a game. Bears' offense putting up about 135 yards a game. We have some other matchups that we can start getting into, but for now, you wanted this. I don't want to stuff anybody. We got a lot more here, so just digest.
Perfect. So, we don't always agree or come in with the same idea. And you've mentioned a couple things. I'm kind of in the same boat looking at Chicago run game. You still have a younger quarterback. He's on his 3rd start, I believe, on the Chicago side.
Mm-hmm.
So, I've talked about this often, just a young quarterback, having someone to lean on, and it's often the tight end. And we see Kmet in the last couple of games, especially, really become kind of that safety blanket, right? So those are kind of the narratives or the pieces that I'm looking at in this game, and we can dive more into the details. We'll look at the player props. We'll see where, kind of where they sit with regards to over-unders, all that kind of stuff. But are there any – so we talked about Herbert. Did you mention Herbert being out?
Have not mentioned. We were just getting to the fundamentals, which is
all right.
Yeah.
So let's throw the injuries on the table. The latest updates is Khalil Herbert is out, not expected to play tonight. So you gotta like Deontay Foreman. He's given us some pretty decent production when he's been the starter. Roshan Johnson is still in that backfield, but they seem to lean the experience in Foreman to kind of lead that backfield. So, like you talked about, the Carolina giving up a bit more on the ground will definitely favor his game.
Mm-hmm.
And then Herbert obviously is out tonight as well, or Fields, sorry.
Yeah. So to follow that up a little bit, when you're looking at Carolina, they're worst in the league against the rush, number 32 as far as DVOA. So that's also, as we said, 131 yards a game. There's a split, a 3-headed backfield regardless in Chicago. So even if we're losing Khalil Herbert, Darrington Evans is going to step into a role. You're looking at Foreman I'm estimating Foreman at roughly 60%. Darrington Evans and Roshan also splitting roughly 20% each, maybe a little bit more or less given the performance. And then I'm looking at the Bears rushing, averaging over 130 yards. I would think they're going to get to about 160 in this game. If you're looking at roughly 160, 60% of that, right around 96 yards for Foreman.
96?
Yeah. So if assuming that the Bears are rushing and pounding the ball and able to go over the average that Carolina gives, and they are averaging 130-something yards a game, that's around 4th or 5th in the league. So they do run the ball well. And also, some other fundamentals too. While I'm, just before I get too sidetracked with the running back, and I'll let you look at, I know you want to look at some stats. Bears are finally getting healthy. This is the healthiest that offensive line is going to have been all year. They're only missing one lineman now, Davis. He's been out for 4 games, so it's not like they're suddenly missing anybody. They're starting to get healthy there. As we said, DJ Moore revenge game. Also, on the defensive side for the Bears, this is the healthiest the defensive backs have been all year. Everybody's back. The only person missing is Tremaine Edmonds. He's been out for a little bit. but the defense is getting healthy in the backfield. The offensive line is getting healthy. That's going to be good things for the Bears. Opposite story for Carolina. They're going to be missing key players in that defense. Offensive outside linebacker Brian Burns, safety Von Bell, cornerback C.J. Henderson. All are going to be missing this game. Two of them are out for the first time with concussions. They're being held out with protocols. They're not going to make it through. Nobody's made it through the concussion protocols yet in a week. So I'm assuming these guys are going to be out this week. The safety could impact some stuff. I don't think C.J. Henderson being out is really going to affect anything too much on the left side. I think it's the left or right side. I'll check in a minute. But I don't think that's going to change too much. The person coming in, what's his name? DiCaprio. Boodle. Boodle's actually not bad. Boodle's pretty good. So I don't expect them to lose much there. But Von Bell could affect some stuff, including the running game. So, and we'll get into that. But that's the kind of the breakdown on the injuries and the fundamentals on this.
So, I kind of like to get into details when it comes to these players. Right now, Foreman, 59.5 over under on yardage. So you had him at what, 96 or something like that?
96. I got Foreman coming in around 96 yards, assuming he takes 60%.
Yeah, you could even, and it's not like he might get 1 to 2 or 3. Like he's barely getting any receptions. That's
Well, yeah. I mean, yeah. I'm not looking at the receptions. Are you looking at all-purpose yards?
Yeah, I'm just kind of looking at it all because I think we went all-purpose. Was it last weekend or? Anyways, so total. I'm trying to see if we can tease. Oh, here we go. So rushing yards. So we can even tease. You can even tease from the 59.5 to like even go like 70 plus, 80 plus, and you're going, from what is it, like 115 or whatever it is to like a plus, right? You're now in the +2, plus 125, depending on if you take that 70 or 80 there.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I could say if I'm thinking 96. So yeah, like you said, if you're going to be aggressive, you could really push the dial with that. That would be where if I was going to push, that's where I would push. There's also one other place. There are two other places, but we'll talk about that.
Okay. Receiving. Let's talk receiving.
All right. Let's talk receiving.
And let's stick to the Bears. You talked about the DJ Moore revenge game.
Yeah.
Remind me what you had him at.
DJ Moore. Well, first of all, I think the prop on DJ Moore anytime touchdown is plus 165. And I think his over-under was 52.5 on the yardage, which is just about average for him.
55.5 right now on DraftKings.
Oh, wow. Really? It's gone up since when I looked at it. All right. So Carolina versus that number 1 wide receiver, number 29 in the league, plus 32% on the DVOA. If you're looking at where they give it up, they give up deep left passes to the deep left. And guess who just happens to be running deep left patterns? That's going to be DJ Moore, the guy looking for revenge. So he's going to line up. DJ Moore will line up against Dante Jackson. That is a positive advantage to him. Dante Jackson should line up on DJ Moore, assuming DJ is going to move around a little bit, but about half the time he'll be lining up on the left-hand side against Dante Jackson. Dante's there 80% of the time. That's going to be a mismatch. He should be able to get deep left against Dante Jackson. Yeah, that's so. And they give – and by the way, Carolina averages giving up 78.8 yards to the number 1 wide receiver per game.
So my one hesitation there, DJ Moore, last 4 games, 51 yards, 54 yards, 55 yards, and 44 yards. So it's been a little ugly. I mean, the other thing you got to look at, though, is you got to look at who he played against, right? So played against the Saints, pretty decent defense, played against the Chargers, played against Vegas, played against Minnesota in those games.
Yeah. I mean, Minnesota's playing up. Chargers have been, hot and cold, but yeah.
So sorry, don't mean to cut you off, but one way to go with that is if you're worried about yardage just because of the quarterback, you got to think, and I mean, we'll get into this because this is kind of where I want to as much as it's DJ Moore revenge game, we see a trend now with Komet and this young quarterback in Chicago. So, I don't think this Badgent guy is going to be, launching the pigskin the whole game. They're going to be running the game, right? They're going to be running the ball is what we've already established. So you got to be careful as to giving too much to Moore and then too much to Komet. So I would say maybe you go DJ Moore with the receptions. I'm trying to see what that's at. And then you could maybe with Komet, you can look at either, whatever one's giving you better value.
Let me fill in a little bit though.
Yeah, go ahead.
With Carolina, like they've got two big weaknesses. It's the number 1 wide receiver and it's the rushing. That's what their really weakness. Otherwise, they're number 4 against the number 2 wide receiver, number 3 against the slot. So they're probably shutting down the rest of the receivers. Number 12 against the tight end. So they don't suck against the tight end, and number 11 against the running back coming out of the backfield. They don't suck there. But it seems to me that you're going to probably end up, funneling to certain areas. Chicago side, a little bit different. It's kind of a sieve across the board, but we've got people getting healthy, so you assume across the board it's going to get better. But versus the number 1 wide receiver, number 19, 17 against the 2, 18 against the slot, 23 against the tight end. As we said, 31 against the running back coming out of the backfield. That's going to favor Chuba Hubbard coming out of the backfield with passes. And then number 7 against the rush. So one thing Chicago does do well is they have been tight against people running the ball against them. So, if that helps at all with forming, what you think could be a game scenario. And my thinking is if Chicago can shut down the run at all, you're going to force Young to throw the ball after what he looked like last week with the defensive backfield being different.
Hey, let's just hold on a sec, just because I want to get to Carolina after, and we're kind of already in the weeds here with Chicago. So DJ Moore receptions 4.5. He's been targeted 18 times in the last 2 games. Or sorry, I apologize. Let me just erase everything I just said. So Komet has been targeted, 18 times the last 2 games.
Okay.
Now his receptions are at 3.5. Love the over on the receptions. You don't even have to necessarily go to the yards for me on something like that. Because to me, no matter how this game goes, this quarterback seems to be leaning on this tight end. And like we said, it's not like that's a strength for Carolina necessarily. It seems to be more of a wash. They're kind of a bit better than average against the tight end from what you're saying.
Yeah. Yeah.
Whereas Moore is 4.5 receptions. And I had that. Let me just see if I can. Yeah, right here. So he's had 3 receptions, 4 receptions, 5 receptions. So he's kind of closer to that line, I would say.
I'm more.
But if I'm going to play more, I'll probably, in my opinion, I would probably play the receptions versus the yardage.
See, I'm thinking the other way. I'm thinking if looking at the defense and what they give up, if they're going to give up a deep left pass,
the deep left is what you're thinking, right?
Is that I'm thinking that more than they average 78 yards a game. I don't think there's going to be like a lot of offense. I don't know if either quarterback gets far past 200 yards. So if there's going to be a lot of little dinky stuff and then maybe a big play here and there, and this is, like I said, I'm thinking the revenge game for Moore. One more thing to think about too is that this is for draft picks. This game is for the draft picks that the Bears took from Carolina. Bears beat Carolina. That pick goes from number 2 up. I think that Bears are going to play this like, they're going to play hard. I expect them to come out hard.
Yeah, I'm just looking at Moore's. You could even tease like he's at 55.5. You could even just tease him at 50 plus. Put him over 50 yards just to save like that. Just in case he gets.
Well, just that he goes over his average.
Yeah,
they average giving up 80 yards a game, and we know there's extra motivation there. We're just assuming he's going to do better than his average.
So you talked about the quarterbacks, and maybe we cross over to Carolina with this, but Bryce Young over under 216 and a half.
Man, it's hard. Honestly, he looked bad last game, and he was playing at home.
He looked especially bad because you had Stroud go off and have like a legendary game. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but
it makes it even worse.
Yeah, Stroud didn't look so great the week before. I think he scored 12 points. I mean, it's week to week, but he looked so bad last week. He just looked. It wasn't the same. He wasn't reading the defense. He was, when he got picked off by that guy twice and he ran it. He didn't see that person. He didn't expect him to be there the second time. That scares me a little bit. That there's film. There's something he's missing. And now he's going on the road on a short week to Chicago with their defense coming back. I think that it might go under. I think it might go under. I do think that if you're going to go with receptions, Adam Thielen. I do think that Thielen has a matchup advantage. Not for any other reason than he is just going up against Kyler Gordon in the slot. Kyler Gordon's going to be in the slot 98% of the time. Adam Thielen's going to line up against him 72% of the time. That's a mismatch. I think that Thielen will he'll own Gordon.
So just sticking with Young, we'll get to Thielen because we started talking, you and I, before we.
I'm sorry.
No, it's good. I'm writing down the names so we know where to go next. It's all good, man. Chicago fifth most yards allowed passing per game. I know you're saying they're getting better. That's at 256 and a half. So that might be why they have Bryce at 216 and a half.
Well, but what do they use? Bryce is passing for what, 187 yards a game. So I mean,
so they've given him that extra already. It's already baked in.
It's baked in, yeah.
So yeah, I think the under.
Yeah, I
like the under there.
Yeah. What's the weather? Have we looked at the weather up in Chicago? It's November at night.
It's probably windy, I would imagine.
Cold.
Cold.
Yeah.
What did I tell you earlier? Thielen hasn't gone over 68 yards against Chicago.
Yeah, I don't know, but he was playing a different position. He was playing on the outside.
He wasn't necessarily the main guy. You know what I mean?
No. And a lot of times he was hurt. But this is different. This year has been different. They put him in the slot, and he is. I mean, it's been a whole. I mean, I thought he was washed. They put him in the slot. He's like a different player. It's like putting Larry Fitzgerald in the slot. A short Larry Fitzgerald.
He's Steve Smith with Cam Newton. That's basically how I see it.
Yeah, kind of. Like a skinny Steve Smith. Let's see what we got. Carolina Bears. Partly cloudy, 13-mile-per-hour winds.
Okay. Yeah.
From the southwest.
Nothing too crazy.
No, 13's not. That's not nothing. I mean, we get up to 20, it becomes a concern. So 13's not nothing.
So let's kind of not wrap it up, but let's, I'm missing all kinds of the comments. So I'm going to go through the comments. Why don't you give kind of your summary on just the game flow, like where you think this game's going? You've given we've gone pretty deep into like the specific players, or anything else you want to add. And then we'll go through, and I know there's some questions in the chat that we can answer, and then some comments, if there's some comments in there, or anything that you guys disagree with, we can discuss.
Yeah, absolutely. So we talked about DJ. We talked about Adam Thielen. What I would have to add to some of this stuff is, as far as props go, we talked about DJ. We talked about Foreman. I like Chuba with the over 2.5 receptions and the Thielen with the anytime touchdown. My guess is that we're not going to be able to pass deep on Carolina. That Carolina is going to do a lot of short stuff. And for the most part, I think that's kind of what the Bears are going to be doing. But I do think that the Bears should be able to hit a play deep left, at least one during the course of the game. So what do I think? I think the Bears are probably going to be very aggressive to start out this game. I am sure they are aware of the draft pick that's going to be at risk. They're going to come out hot. and they're going to try to get up early and run the ball in the second half, which has been their formula. So if that's the case, right, that plays into what we were just talking about. That plays into some kind of DJ Moore score. That plays into the over on the rushing. On the other side, if that's the scenario, we're looking at Carolina trying to come from behind, short passes to Thielen, short passes to Chuba. That's what I'm thinking. I think the 2.5 receptions to Chuba, the Bears are averaging 8 targets a game to the running back position. I think that Chuba definitely goes over 2.5 receptions. Either way, whether they're trailing or they're not. And so what else? Yeah, that's the most. I don't have anything specific to Cole Kmet.
I'm gonna add this one caveat to your whole DJ Moore philosophy.
Yes.
How many yards is Tyreek Hill getting against KC this past weekend?
Oh, you mean with the absolute lock? I think 60 or something like that.
Didn't get much. Not as usual. Not his usual self. I just don't know if Carolina they don't know already how to lock DJ Moore down a bit.
Oh,
especially when you've got a guy like Bryce Young. It's not like he's got Aaron Rodgers throwing him the ball. So that just came to me now as you were talking. So that would be my one pushback on the DJ Moore long ball, that kind of thing. Because sometimes in these revenge games for receivers, the defense knows that receiver well because they play them in practice, right? A lot. So that's just something to think about. I'm just putting that out there. We can't agree on everything.
No. I agree with you, but remember, the defense is hurt. We lost the safety.
Totally.
We lost the linebackers. We're going to be scrambling with communication back there, especially with the safety out.
We just want to make sure we give all the angles.
I agree. If the Panthers win, I think that the Panthers are going to do it by running the ball and being able to get up early. So if they can get something off early, then I could see the Panthers being able to kind of spread the ball around to the different receivers, in which case you would be seeing a Bryce Young over game, right? Because if the Panthers are going to win, I don't think they're going to do it by running it between the tackles. I think they'll do it by throwing the ball. So if we're looking at the Panthers winning, probably an over with Bryce Young, probably an over with some of the receiving props for these again, Thielen seems like for the receptions seems like a lock. I mean, he should get 6-7 receptions in this game, I would think.
Are you playing Anthony wants to know, are you playing DJ Moore tonight, or are you playing Lockett against Washington this weekend?
I have to look at Lockett to tell you.
Well, let's look at Washington versus the pass for a sec here. Opponent passing yards per game. I've got it.
I think you know what. Without thinking,
I'm probably going Lockett.
You're going Lockett. See, I'm thinking I probably. It's tough because normally I would say go with the number 1 wide receiver. Who's gonna?
I got another thing to look at. Why don't we look at Lockett's over/under this weekend compared to DJ Moore's? That's always a little helpful. I like to look at that when I'm really close on a couple guys. So we said 55.5 was for DJ Moore.
Yeah, it was at 52.5 though. It's gone up.
So it's moved up to 55.5, and then you've got Lockett. This is really weird. Sorry, let me just play around here. Come on, DraftKings. Why is this so complicated? Where's your receiving?
I'll be honest. I think I'm on the other side.
You're on more. Well, I mean, you've got more with that long left side, right? So you kind of have to. I feel like.
Yeah, I kind of like the DJ Moore and the revenge and the motivation of Chicago to show that they did the right thing. And this is just. I mean, this is the nail in the coffin. We got DJ, and then we used them to basically sink you. I just can't imagine that they're not going to try to do that. But
I'm wondering if there's any guys in the chat. Is there any injury going on with? Because I know last week Lockett and DK Metcalf were not completely 100%, and I'm not seeing any over/under yet for the Seattle receivers. I'm only seeing Washington on here. I'm wondering if there's an injury situation happening there. So you might want to look at that, Anthony. Okay. So yeah, take a look at that. I don't know if you find anything there, Rob, with regards to the Seattle receivers, but that would be my one. That'd be my research for the day, Anthony. Is figure out what's going on with the receivers in Seattle. If you agree with Rob, at least you've got that possibility for a long bomb and possibly a touchdown to DJ Moore with the revenge game.
I just, if I have DJ Moore and I mean, this is the game he plays, the team that kept him literally buried on the depth chart for how many years, and then he finally gets out of there, gets a real paycheck. I mean, he wants to show his gratitude to the owners, and he knows. I mean, they all know that what they're playing for. So this is one of those things where the matchup is there. The motivation should be there, and the franchise should be looking to kind of make that statement too. So it just seems to play. I would probably start DJ Moore. I would have a tough time benching him, and even if Lockett was to go off, he's the number 2 at best, number 2 wide receiver on that team. So I would probably go with the number 1 wide receiver.
I could just see Seattle just wanting to get back on track after the Baltimore game. So I'm going to lean Lockett there. Like I said, barring injury situation, because I'm not totally sure with regards to the injury situation. We got Ruckus asking, should he play Chuba tonight or wait to see Nico this weekend and Nico Collins?
Ooh.
Is Collins hurt? Is that why you're saying wait to see Nico? Ruckus?
Tougher matchup for Nico this week. Let me check what's going on with Nico.
Yeah, I mean, so actually that's one thing we didn't talk about, Rob, that I did want to talk about. And if you mentioned it and I missed it, I apologize. But the Carolina running back situation, we've seen Chuba Hubbard, especially the last few weeks, kind of get more touches than Sanders in that backfield.
The coach came right out and said that he was playing better than Sanders and he was the starter. So
perfect. And Chuba's Canadian, so he gets an extra point for that. In all seriousness, though, I do like Chuba better. I was not a fan of Miles Sanders coming into the season. I just don't know. Does that trend continue? Do you think they just split it up and play hot hand? Like, how do you think this plays out tonight for the Carolina backfield? And that might help Ruckus.
Oh, I definitely think the trend continues. All right. They're gonna see what they have in Chuba. I think that they're gonna keep pushing him and seeing if he can be the bell cow for next year. And right now, but between Nico has that upside. I think it would, if I wanted the floor, I'm taking Chuba. If I need to score points and I'm trying to get that upside, then I'm taking Nico.
Yeah, usually running back, receiver, it's the back will give you the floor, and then the receiver usually gives you the ceiling, and especially Nico's given us some nice games this year with how Houston's played in some of their matchups with Stroud, definitely shining as a rookie. So I think they're probably close as long as they're both healthy. I think it just depends on how you think Chuba does tonight and how much of that backfield he gets, basically.
Yeah. If it's PPR also, PPR, it's going to be, I'm going to want Chuba more in PPR and because he's going to probably catch a few balls coming out of the backfield tonight. And I see there's someone's asking about the 2.5. I like that 2.5 line. I think we're 8 targets a game. I think that Chuba will collect more than half. I mean, probably
even if Sanders play, right? You got to think the targets go to Chuba.
Yeah. What do y'all do? White.
Right. So we've got a trade question here. Would y'all do White and Stroud for Josh Allen? So you got to let us know if this is super flex. We'll probably figure it out once we kind of analyze it, but just try to let us know as much info as you can, guys. PPR, super flex, tight end premium, that kind of stuff is more important than knowing your whole roster. So
now White and Stroud.
Is it because you need a running back? Is that kind of your move here?
Well, he's got Bijan and Brees. I mean, how many running backs you starting? And then White. So it looks like he's upgrading to Josh Allen. He's got
upgrading.
White.
I see. Sorry, he's upgrading.
Yeah, he's upgrading.
I don't mind that. Anytime you can upgrade, I don't mind doing it.
Yeah, Josh Allen's a top 3 asset.
Yeah, I'm smashing that.
Yeah.
I took it the other way for some reason, but yeah, I would definitely do that, Lex, for sure. Anytime you can upgrade. I upgraded to Herbert the other week. Still not mad about it, even though he dudded me this past weekend. So let me just see if there's any other questions we missed.
There's something in there too.
I think we've got everything. It's a single new QB. No, yeah. So it's not super flex.
No, but it still doesn't matter. Single QB. Yeah, I'm still taking Josh Allen. Put him in. I mean, we only have one quarterback.
Oh, I see. Yeah, that's exactly it. The other guy needs a running back. I might try to sneak a little something in there, a little third rounder, something coming back.
It's because you're the best at that. You're the best.
Hey, for the record, did we not just make a trade with Chuba? I sent you Mims for Chuba. I like.
Yeah,
Chuba,
that was very fair. Very fair. I like Mims. I'm rebuilding. I'm looking to next year. I think Mims will be there in the centerpiece, and you get Chuba for the year. And Chuba's, like we just talked about, I think that trend continues.
So I see Bears at 3.5. I don't know if Anderson is asking if we like the Bears at -3 or if he's just saying is it -3. But right now on DraftKings, it's 3.5.
I like the Bears at -3. I like the Bears at -3.5. I like the Bears at -4. I like the Bears at -5.
So you like the Bears tonight?
I like the Bears to cover by a good amount. Carolina, they haven't, really covered in a while. They've been mostly getting blown out. They played 2 home games in a row. They're going on the road short. Yeah, I think the Bears are going to hurt them. I'm looking at 27-13. If you want to know exactly what I'm looking, I'm thinking 27-13.
All right.
So,
all right. I think we've combed through this pretty well. Given a good idea. He's smashing, and Anderson's smashing the Bears -3. There you go. You got liking the Bears tonight, guys. You guys have been awesome in the chat. We appreciate you guys hanging out with us on this Thursday afternoon. Good luck in all your bets, your starting lineups, everything this weekend. Enjoy the games. Rob, anything you want to add before we close this out?
See if I got anything left on the page. I don't think so. I think that's it. Thielen, anytime touchdown, +185. It's almost 2-1. If anybody's going to score a touchdown for Carolina, probably Thielen.
Very legit. Or Chuba.
Chuba through the air, but they stopped the run. So I think we get in tight inside there. I think you're looking at a slot receiver. That's Thielen, and that's what he's been doing. So, and the odds are good. +185. I like the odds of it. If I was going to pick something, that would be the little extra.
All right, there it is. We've exhausted this Thursday night game. I can't wait to see what happens. Hopefully for your birthday week, Snowman, you get a big W from your Bears. Hope you enjoy the game, guys. Check us out tomorrow night or tomorrow afternoon. We have a very special edition of the GOAT District. Actually, I almost forgot to announce that. I've got John Daigle joining me at 4 p.m. Eastern tomorrow afternoon. On the Player Profiler Network. So we'll get that out for you guys on the Twitter machine with the link and everything, but just make sure you're checking us out tomorrow, 4 p.m. on the good old Player Profiler channel. Rob, what's that smile on your face? What's going on there?
John Daigle, man. I like John Daigle.
One of my faves.
He's a sharp.
One of my faves for sure. He's a good dude. If you missed last week, we had Mike Shope on. He brought tons of goodness. You know him from Deep End and from the Buffalo Bills. So we're trying to bring you guys the goodness. Hopefully you like what we have to offer. Smash the like, smash the subscribe, and we'll check you all later.
Go district, you know the Pope listens. Dynasty, our religion, for the blokes missing. On all of these trades, on all of these plays, on all of these grades. By the end of the day, y'all getting played. So, what you gonna do next? Try to fill up that flex? Send the homie a text? That trash offer's the best? You try to make it complex, then they text you back. Now all of a sudden they don't make any sense. Broaden your horizons, boy. Dynasty's not for the Simons, boy. These trades not for consignment, boy. Respect your opponent, y'all some piranhas, boy. This my advice from me to you. Open up your cute little podcast queue. Search up GOAT District, my dude. Pop it in your ear, man. Y'all know what to do. It's the... And I'll always be traded.